I entertained the possibility that I could, and I said yes. And really it is about saying yes, often jumping in the game, getting your stick on the ice, getting in the arena of life, and then trying to figure it out as you go along. So if I could give one piece of advice around that, always say yes. Always, always say yes. When opportunity shows up, when possibility is there, just say yes, and then figure it out.
Well, I did want to touch on all these successes as we tell a little bit of your story this morning. But it wasn't all that long ago that you were beset with one of the darkest of family tragedies and following in short order a personal health challenge. These were two events that had you questioning for all intents and purposes all of life. You were seeking answers.
That's right. And, you know, it's amazing how things sort of come into your life and then they serve as a huge catalyst for change. And, you know, I look back, it was just 3 years ago that our son Declan died. And 6 months after that, I self-diagnosed breast cancer. So I was facing a mastectomy and really was sort of on the floor searching for, you know, through the puzzle pieces of life, you know, what do I really believe in anymore? And amazingly, it has come full circle. I still have come around to understanding that life does unfold the way it's supposed to, and if we're looking for answers and lessons, that they're there. And it, you know, we look at different challenges that face us, but when you can get on the other side of that, there's usually something quite beautiful. And so I've managed to take those two events and turn them into something beautiful. I named my publishing company after Declan, so it's called Declan McAndrew Publishing. And Motivated Magazine was born out of those two, what I call cosmic 2x4s, in me asking, you know, have I really accomplished what I want to do in life? Have I done what I, you know, came to do? And I decided it was to inspire people, and that's my goal right now, to inspire the world to rise to their fullest potential.
Having come full circle in questioning all of life, I believe now more than ever that it's essential that we live our lives to the fullest with all the passion we can muster. There is absolutely no room for mediocrity. There just isn't time. There's no time for that. Heartbreaking losses, as I continue to explain to our children, go hand in hand with living a passionate life without fear. A loss in business or your health or your personal life will always be temporary. It may not feel like it, but it will pass. And when it does, I suggest to everybody in this room that you decide wisely what you will do with that loss. My sincerest wish is that you too will reinvent, reposition, rephrase the events that occur in your life and shift your perspective. Just do a shift and create something beautiful that contributes to the world. Deciding how you will gift your unique strengths and talents and your genius is all that you must do. And when you do it with excellence.
You're so right that we kind of venture and journey through life, and we have all of these experiences that culminate into where we are right now, and it only defines our present. It doesn't give us a glimpse of what's going to happen in the future for us, but it certainly layers who we are as individuals. Wouldn't you say?
I would, and I think that's the underlying message about everything that I do. It's the importance of living in the present. When our son Declan died, it's the moment that I realized that if I really got very present, I didn't feel grief. And so we often lose ourselves in looking backwards about what should have and could have and would have been. And sometimes we live in the future and we're missing the very moment that we're in. But that's where the core of happiness is, for me. And I think for a lot of people, when they realize and they ask themselves, is everything okay right now, in this moment? You know, people start getting overwhelmed about, you know, where they're supposed to be or could be or should be driving. You know, I'm missing this or I'm missing that, I'm late for this. But if you stop and ask yourself, is everything perfect in this moment? It always is.
So we went to this Bill Clinton event, and this magazine got passed around. It was called Motivated. And I opened it up and I went, I'm supposed to write for this magazine. The magazine was kind of a promotional tool just for the speakers at the event, but I went, it needs heart. I love the premise of it. It was about sort of profiling successful people, but I thought I could do magic with this magazine. So I called up the owner of it and I said, can we meet? And I told him my story, and he almost fell off his chair. And I said, you know what, Shevaun, I've been around motivational people my whole life, but I've never been inspired. I'm going to sell you this magazine for $1. And so I bought the magazine. Have I any publishing background? No. Did I just say yes? Yes.
Now you must tell us about Motivated magazine. You've had some heavy hitters grace the cover and write for you. Bill Clinton, Will Smith, Steve Wozniak, Don Cherry. That list goes on. Tell us about Motivated magazine.
As I mentioned before, really my entire intention is just to inspire the world. I have, been in business my whole life and had an education background before that, but have always looked at people maybe not always rising to their fullest potential, feeling sort of blocked, negative self-chatter, that kind of thing that happens in our minds, and yet when we get control over it, we really can achieve anything we set our minds to. So the magazine is just that. It's there to inspire people. It sits on the business shelf. And is geared towards entrepreneurs, but has a much broader readership now than I could have ever imagined, because it is positive. So I invite leaders from around the world to contribute to the magazine. I sit down and decide what I want the theme to be. And so I've explored happiness, audacity, vision, passion, anything that sort of inspires me, and then find the person that matches that theme. So when I was exploring the theme of forgiveness, Bill Clinton, you couldn't get a better face for forgiveness. An entire country had to forgive him, his wife, his child, and he's gone on to do great things. So for me, putting him on the cover was a no-brainer. And as I move forward for different themes, it works the same way. I really wanted to have Richard Branson on the cover, and was so blessed to sit beside him for breakfast at this event, and he agreed to be on the March cover. And so the next issue will be on mentorship, which obviously ties into something I'm very passionate about as well. So then I'll just seek out people, around the world that have significant things to share, and that's what goes in the magazine.
If you had any words of wisdom for us hungry for something more, what would you share today that maybe you haven't shared already, Shevaun?
Find the time. I was given an opportunity to really find that time. In the circumstances that happened to me, I had a year where I felt not very functional, and so I peeled away the layers to find out for me what life was about. But you don't need catalysts for change in order to find that time. And when you do, and you're quiet with yourself, and whether that's with a dream book or you're journaling or you're reading, and you're just trying to link into other perspectives, find the time to find out what makes your heart sing, and then go and make choices to do that. I think that's the piece. People will run around and go, I just don't have the time, or I'm rushing with this and I'm rushing with that, and our whole world is rushing. What if you just stopped? And it doesn't take a whole lot. Even just lying in the bathtub and asking yourself some of the hard questions, that will start the process for change and reinvention.